Blaine did some amazing stuff in there, so we want to make sure we captured it.
I didn't know you could record in the, oh, we can't record, but you could record in the breakout room.
Yeah, anybody that's in there can record with permission.
Oh gosh, I did
Nice,
not know that.
nice
I
to
know that.
know.
I'm learning breakout rooms. This is a new restraining force. What's it? Restraining force that I've had. I've always been like, I don't want to learn those, but I'm overcoming it. So I'm doing.
Always an opportunity to learn.
All right. Well, how was the sessions, guys? Was it fun and interesting and got some great knowledge and conversation going? So what we want to do is we would like to open it up and just if anybody wants to talk about how they did, if they want to put in chat and tell us how things went. And you can actually, go ahead, Andrew. He's got his hand up. Yeah.
All right. Well, it was incredible. We had Dr. Ortman, Dr. Mort Ortman, and Dr. Barrett. What is her last name? I'm sorry.
Hester.
Hester. Dr. Yes.
Dr. Hester. So both were wonderful. And what I really enjoyed about Dr. Mort's talk was he talked about things that each of us is faced with every day. And he gave very specific advice. And the fact that he has 3 free courses, I didn't even know that. The last time I saw his spotlight, I think he had 1. So that was great that anyone can just get 3 of his free courses. And then he explained that one of his other courses is on special. So I'm planning to pick that up. But what I thought was wonderful was that he talked about this idea that, let's say you have quote unquote haters and you have people maybe who don't want you to succeed maybe as much as you want to. He said that if you can first deal with your own issues behind anger, and then it could help you to maybe, in my case, I just feel sorry for those people, but he said that you can then help empathize with them. And there's a way in which you can work with this, even though it's painful sometimes to hear these criticisms. He gave a very deep way of handling these types of situations, which so many of us get into, especially as we advance and get more and more fans and listeners, etc.
Oh, that's great, Andrew. I love that feedback. Dr. Mort is awesome. Amazing. That is great. Awesome. All right, Gemma, you're next.
Yes. So we had an amazing session. It was like a small committee of highly engaged people. And between Alicia and I, we truly brought through the point of self-love first. The best relationship is with yourself first. And from there, you heal everything you have to heal in order to actually show up to the world. Because that is the most crucial relationship you can have and develop with yourself. And Alicia started with that, and I just continued with that same train of thought because it was like so good. I was not going to diverge too much.
Awesome. Well, it's so nice that you guys could have a conversation, right? So it's like the differences in the rooms and all that, and the differences in the conversations, but when it's smaller, you get to have that community feel, and that's awesome. Joyce.
Yes, thank you. I was in the room with Blaine Bartlett, and his conversation was quite informative and transformative. And it's in alignment with what we were talking about with the discovery, utilizing the Six Sigma method. And when he talks about GROWAL, it's a word he coined. And I would dare say that his course would go into a lot more details about it. I got a shift in my thinking because I always think as a goal is going on a straight line. And sometimes it looks like a plate of spaghetti that I just want to rake it in the garbage and go to bed. So I want nothing to do with this. And he's made, and he just say, notice when that happens and what you can generate and create, what's guiding you. That's why I call it transforming rather than being, wanting to say, I just give it up. I'll just give up. I don't want to do this anymore. Now I can look at it in a different way and notice when my Frankenstein brain, as John Assaraf labeled it, goes to that place versus my Einstein brain, that I got this, and to keep going. So his course is $248. He just said we can have it for 98. So you want to transform your thinking into Grow, jump on this book. So I don't know, I mean his course. So I don't know if you're going to put it in the chat, how people can get to it later on or what, but I would suggest that you really get this course. Very informative. So thank you, Blaine. Thank everybody else for being on this platform today. It is worth it, every moment of it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Joyce, for that. And I do want to say this is an opportunity, and our speakers, I know you guys have got links to your courses. Go ahead and get them put. If you've got specials, you can go ahead and put your discount specials in. I'm also going to show the marketplace. Tim was showing you this morning. We've got the new discount up marketplace up for you guys. And so all of these, if your speakers all have these and you've made them public, they'll all be available in the marketplace. So I'm going to go to the website now, guys, and I'm actually going to show you. I am on the website, okay? And I'm just on my replicated site. I'm not logged in. I don't have to be logged in until I want to buy something. I'm going to come down here. Right below channels is the weekly deals and specials. So if you have any specials going, guys, they're now going to show here in this marketplace. And when you go ahead and say, see all offers, it looks just like the courses, and you can search. So if I go here and I come down and I want to look for Blaine Bartlett, okay, I could come down here, if I can see without my glasses on, and I click on Blaine. His course is right there, guys. Now, this is the Power of You, and it's at 186, Blaine. And I don't know if you had another discount or if he has a private discount, because creators can create private discounts, and he may put that in the chat. So, and then Blaine, if you need help with that, you let me know if there's one that was private or something, and I can help get that for you. But guys, that's the power of the new section on the website. This is completely all of the specials. Okay, so I can uncheck that and I can go all the specials, and then I can take all courses, and now I can see all courses, and I can scroll down through the whole entire marketplace, and I can see any that are on sale will have the little red tag on there. So I could go to premium courses and say, what's on sale in premium? I'd have to scroll down a while to find some, but I could scroll through and I could see, or I can just go straight to on sale and it will show me, and then I can pull them by the categories, by the creator, by language, just like our normal searching, guys. Is that amazing? Our tech team worked really hard this week to get this up and live for us so we could have it for this session. So go out there and start looking around. There are some amazing deals out there, and I see that the speakers are getting their stuff in the chat. So please go ahead and get those out there, guys, and go pick up some of these great courses, guys. We've got great sales going on right now, and this is amazing. Yes, Blaine's got his out there, so you guys can go grab that Joyce was just talking about right there. Perfect. And Mort Orman has got his out there. That looks great. Alicia also. Brie Campano's got hers out there, and I'm sure we'll be seeing more. So guys, go out there to the marketplace and start searching around and find some great stuff. So I'm going to stop my share. Any other feedback, guys? We've had it in a few minutes here because we want to hear from you guys. This is the first time Kathy and I have done kind of a mini session like this. We've done immersion sessions live and things like that. And so we would like feedback on what worked, what you guys like, what you don't like, and don't wait. We're not done yet, so don't go anywhere. We're not ending the session. We just thought we'd take a few minutes, give everybody a break after being in the breakout sessions, and kind of let people talk if they want to talk, and tell us how's it going and what are your thoughts. Any of the speakers? I know Gemma spoke up already. Any of the other speakers like to say a few words?
Hi, Sandra, it's Alicia. I can't find where to raise my hand, so I'm just unmuting myself.
That's okay.
I'm being audacious. Thank you so much for this. This was really, really powerful. And the way that the executive team has just been supporting us as creators and making this platform for us and giving us this opportunity to share. It's really phenomenal. There is no other platform out there that is doing something like this. And I just want to say thank you and I appreciate everything you're doing. And I'm sure all the other creators do as well, but it's really very special because you guys are really pushing creative, the content on the channel with the emails you're sending out and everything else. And this event has been spectacular so far. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Alicia. I love hearing that. That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Love that feedback. Anybody else? Our next session is going to be forces. Oh boy, this is where it gets a little tough, guys. Got to deal with some restraining forces, and then we're going to go into the driving forces. So Kathy and I like to refer to them as our villains because they're our restraining forces. They hold us back, right? And then our superheroes, which are our driving forces, which help move us forward and keep us moving in life. And they help us overcome those restraining forces. So we're going to get set up for this next session here, guys. Give us a second. And
yeah, there's one question, and maybe we can answer this. How do you save the chat? Lots of links. So people want to save the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. So up in now, sometimes in the chats, it's different. It's either at the bottom of your chat window or the top of your chat window. You're going to find 3 little dots, like mine are in a row, 1, 2, 3 across horizontal. And if I click on that, it says I can save the chat. Okay. So look on yours. Like I said, some Zooms, it depends on, I don't know if it was version or what it is, but sometimes it's at the top of and it's in the Zoom, the chat window. Not the Zoom window, it's in the chat window. So look where your chat is and find 3 little dots in there, and that's how you can save that. Okay.
And the chat window is called the Great Discoveries Personal Meeting Room. So make sure that's what it says. Because if you did personal chats, it won't be there. But if you do the Great Discovery Personal Meeting Room, that's where you can save the chat. So
exactly. Okay.
All
right. Anything else while we get set up here?
I'll get set up with our screen share, but you feel free.
Well, my wife, Christine, this is Ross Quinn. My boss, my wife, I'm often referred to as Mr. Christine Quinn, is telling me I need to say something about the Get Over Yourself course, which is also on the link. And we kind of came up with that title years ago when I was speaking down in New Zealand and fell off a bar stool. It was a little embarrassing. And she had always told me, get over yourself. We're going to do what I want to do. What you want to do is not really on the table. And I finally realized after I had embarrassed myself thoroughly in front of 100 business people that I had probably my best day ever, because it didn't matter that I had issues of embarrassment. I was just all of a sudden, when you say get over yourself, it's not about the other person. It's about yourself. What are you letting get in your own way? Get over it and move on. And there's 80 lessons in this series that have been accumulated over since 1979 that I've been teaching over 2,000 times around the world. So it's down there at half price at normally $199, so it's $99.50. It's we've sold hundreds and hundreds of them and never had a return. Stunning results. So, Chris, was that good enough? Did you want to add something?
You're gonna have a problem in a minute, Ross. Oh my gosh, that's great. Thank you, Ross, for doing that. And how appropriate, because get over yourself. That's what some of these forces are, right? Sometimes
we just talk about, right?
We just got to get over ourselves with some of these, right? And just get over these restraining forces and use the driving to drive us. So I am going to hand it over to Dr. Kathy Lawson, and she's going to get us started on these forces. I won't say which one first.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And so let me, before I even get into this, I just want to say, we've talked about Six Sigma, right? The Great Discovery is built on the thought process of Six Sigma. And I'm going to tell you that one of the key aspects of Six Sigma is the step we're going to talk about right now, this forces thing, the plan, the doing piece. Because when we got down into Six Sigma, What made it breakthrough, what really mattered, was understanding the underlying cause system. So what do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. So like if you have a headache, and we've got a couple of medical doctors here, so they're gonna get this. If you have a headache and you go to your doctor and your doctor says, because this used to be a saying that people said a long time ago, take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning, right? What that doctor did at that moment was treat your symptom. The headache was the symptom, right? And the aspirin is treating the symptom. Will that make the headache go away? Sure, most likely. Will the headache come back? Probably, because you haven't addressed the underlying cause system, right? A headache could be, hey, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm stressed. It could be, I have a brain tumor. It could be, I have sinus problems. There's a lot of different underlying causes. And so, yes, I can treat it by taking some aspirin temporarily, but the headache will come back and I haven't really addressed the cause. And understanding the cause then drives the treatment, because if I have a brain tumor, that's a whole different treatment than if I'm just hungry, right? So I've got to understand that underlying cause system. This piece is of the Six Sigma. It was understanding the causes. I can't tell you how many times people said to me as we were getting ready to start a new project, they would say something like, yeah, you know, Kathy, we've done this. We've looked at this process for years and we've never been able to move the needle. You can try doing your Six Sigma stuff, your little magic there, and maybe it'll get better. We'll see. And I'd be like, okay, are you willing to just try and let's see what we find? And if they said yes, because some of them didn't, but most of them did, we'd get into it. And when we got to this point and we could understand the underlying causes, that was when we had taken control of that process. Because now we could turn it on and off. We could make that headache come on, or we could turn it off. And that's where the power was. So that's when we translate, when we come back to the Great Discovery, this stage right here of plan the doing, and specifically the forces, driving and restraining forces, is really key. If you look at this diagram that's right here, there's a little guy running, trying to make his way through the proven path. Well, guess what? Right now, he is not going anywhere, because his driving force arrow and his restraining force arrow are absolutely equal. And the only way he's going to go forward is when that driving force arrow gets bigger than that restraining force arrow. And how do you do that? You either reduce the restraining force arrow by focusing on what's the cause of those restraining forces, or you focus on the driving force arrow and you increase the strength of those so that the balance changes here. So it's not balanced and you're not staying in the same place. When we have too many restraining forces, we actually move backward, right? So some of the stuff we talked about this morning, that's why I wanted to hit it about what's stopping you. That's the restraining forces, keeping you stuck, keeping you in the same place. And we are going to try to overcome that in this step right now. So this is what we're going to focus on. This is where we're going to go. It's important to understand the underlying causes, because if you don't, you're treating a symptom. I don't have time. Oh, okay, I'll make time. I'll devote an hour to that tomorrow. But have you really opened up time in your schedule? Is it going to happen again? Absolutely. You're going to say, I don't have time. You have to address, why is it I don't have time? And as we talked about earlier, it's because you aren't making it a priority. What does it take to make it a priority so that time becomes available and you don't have to constantly struggle with the symptom of finding time? Okay, so that's where we're going with this. All right. So I'm going to revisit this. I want you to get this exercise back out, the list that you had, because what we want to do is we want to understand these are symptoms. We want to understand the cause. So I hope the breakout session that we just had kind of blew away that I don't know how piece, because you got people now that do know how, that have done it, and that have ways in which you can succeed by giving you the knowledge that they have acquired over time. So, you know, the cause, if I don't know how, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have access to the knowledge, well, you know what? You've got access to the knowledge now on our platform. We have so many amazing creators, so many amazing experts. who have walked this path and can give you that knowledge. So that's, that's an example of how to get to the cause there. The rest of them, we're going to start to explore and see what is it exactly that's going on here, and how is it manifesting in your life, and what's the cause of it, so that you can really and truly just take that restraining force arrow and reduce it either to nothing or to something much smaller than it is today. Okay, so here we go. So we do talk about this. Sandra and I started talking about this as villains. We didn't do this at first, but it really starts to become real when everybody can kind of understand from like a hero's journey perspective. The hero, when they go off on their quest, they encounter challenges, roadblocks, just like we talked about on our proven path, but they also encounter villains that are trying to stop them, villains that are trying to keep them back and hold them back and not let them achieve whatever their final quest is. And we can resonate with that. We can understand that. So Sandra, go ahead and send this one out. I want you to start to think about this in this exercise, and we're going to give you some time to work on this because we've got time. This is really important. Understanding some of those villains that are going on. Not all of them are going to be there, but we've given you some ideas, some things to look at. And when you look at this exercise, many of these things are internal. There are fears speaking. So, we talked about I'm not worthy. Well, the dream thief comes along and steals your dream because maybe, you're just kind of putting it out there and you don't feel worthy. So it's there for the picking, there for the taking, there to just wipe away. If you don't like change, why don't you like change? Or maybe somebody in your environment doesn't like change and they will keep you stuck, and I'm going to talk about some of these, but I want you to think about two things when you do this exercise. It's broken into two parts. The first part is looking at what kinds of things are holding you back internally. What's going on? And part of this process, whether we can get to it today or not, is going to be to understand why. That's the cause. But there's a bunch of stuff that we just internally impose on ourselves. Then there's the people in our lives who not necessarily, and I don't want to label them villains in our life, but we allow their voices, some of the things that they say, we allow them into our consciousness. And that becomes this recurring little video or playback in our mind that we hear over and over again. So we may hear what we think from other people is I'm not worthy, because maybe they are saying something that you interpret as I'm not worthy, or they're judging what I'm doing. Maybe they're trying to protect me. Maybe they're trying to keep me from failure. And that's what I hear when it's really my own fear of failure that's going on. So I'm not saying we're going to blame anybody in our lives, but what you need to acknowledge is what are the voices that you are letting in from other people that are playing in your heads, and that how do they translate to villains? This is what's in this exercise. So people or voices that steal our dreams, that tell us that, maybe, oh, you'll never make money at that, or that's not going to work, or whatever it is, right? That's our own voice, but we're just hearing it from other people. We don't like change. They don't like change. What if I want to make a change? Someone close to me is going to feel threatened maybe, or feel like they have to change if I change, and that's what you're hearing. So, okay, I'll just stay where I'm at because I don't want to put the other person, remember I said, you cannot make a change and manage everybody else's comfort. So if you really want the change, you make the change, you're going to have to somehow bring them along or have a conversation with them about it so that it suddenly is okay, or maybe it's not okay yet, but we'll work through it. We could be our own worst enemies in terms of telling ourselves really terrible things. And so are we cruel to ourselves? Are we critical? How do we do that? What do we say? And why? And so again, why? Why is that happening? What's behind it? Can we drown that voice so it's not speaking so loudly in our heads? The ego one, so many of us have achieved a level of success in our life, and maybe we've become recognized experts at things. It's sometimes hard to step back and be vulnerable and say, well, I have more I can learn, or there's more I don't, there's a lot I don't know, and I'm willing to learn and step into it, as opposed to, oh no, I know everything. Nobody can teach me anything. Well, I'm telling you what, if that's the mindset you're in, You're not going anywhere because you blocked the opportunity to grow, because you're not letting new voices and new ideas and new discoveries come in. So that's the ego prime kind of thing. And bullies, right? People, I'm gonna keep you stuck because I can, and we can bully ourselves. I'm gonna keep myself stuck because I can. And what happens with a bully? We just have to stand up to them. We have to break out and go, no, no, I'm gonna do this anyway. Then maybe there's a wounded soul. You know, I've been hurt before, I've been disappointed before, I don't want to be disappointed again. So these are some examples. There's a whole bunch in that list. I'm gonna let you look at it. And again, we will offer the opportunity to share, to have questions or whatever. But this is really personal stuff. So feel free to be as honest and transparent with yourself as you need to be, because this is the thing that's going to break the cycle of being stuck. So when you break through this, you are breaking through being stuck. So really go there. I mean, be courageous about this. Go there and see what shows up. So we'll just let you work on it for a moment and then we'll move on. Sandra, you're on mute, so if you're
Sorry, we'll take about a good 5 to 7 minutes and let you guys think through this, okay? So, like Kathy said, this is the thing, I guess you call it your Achilles heel, right? It's the thing that will really hold you back. And when you start to understand these, it will really, really help. And again, as you start to think through these, how am I going to work through these? We have all these wonderful creators on the platform, just like Ross Quinn's Get Over Yourself. I mean, there's stuff out there like that, guys, that will really help. So you're not in this alone. You know, there's ways that you can get work through it, but we're going to just give you a few minutes, probably till about 5 after the hour. That gives us about 7-8 minutes, and then we'll pick up on our next session. Okay, so we're going to just give you a little time there. Also, guys, I just posted in chat in case some people aren't able to. I just want to make sure everybody can see, hear everything. But if, as you're working through this over the next few minutes, guys, that we're working, if you do have questions or you need help, we're here. Okay, raise your hand, put it in chat. We're monitoring. Just speak out. We have no problem with that. But just go right on ahead, and if you've got a question or you need some help, we are right here for you. Okay. Okay, just a couple minutes left, guys.
I'll just say people will say that this is one of the hardest steps in the Great Discovery, and I would totally agree with it. I think it is because there's a whole lot of work you got to do and think through. It was as hard as it was in Six Sigma, it was a whole lot easier than the Great Discovery because then we could just go ask a process what was going on. Here we got to ask ourselves.
Yes, exactly, Kathy. That's exactly right. Okay, so let's get set up for this.
Yeah, I was to say, whenever you're ready, before I switch to the next one, you can go ahead and you want to send the next exercise out, go ahead. And then I'll switch it whenever. And as before we transition to the next piece of this, which will be the driving force piece, do you guys have any questions or any comments or anything about this that any ahas, or you can put it in chat or raise your hand or whatever you like. Oh, Gemma, go ahead.
I was observing all those words, and I, as English is not my first language, I was there a little bit disturbed, like, what does that actually mean? And I'm very grateful for the actual worksheet that comes with it, that gives an example for each one of them.
Yes.
What does that actually mean? What are we trying to say? Because then with the explanation on the worksheet, now it means a lot.
Yes, and yes, I didn't want to put all those words on this slide because I knew you were going to have the worksheet, so it would have the definitions as we defined it. But you know what? Again, this is just some ideas to get the thought process rolling. If there's others, you need to do that for yourself. We can't, there's a lot of stuff that people deal with, and it's hard to make it all inclusive. So this was just to kind of get you going. And yeah.
All right, so it's just after the hour and we're going to go ahead and get started on. And yes, that is a difficult exercise to go through, and it will take some time, guys. And we've got to move on though, so we can get through the rest of our content today. So hope you enjoyed that, and we are going to move on to our next force, which is now the positive side. These are our driving forces, right? So these are strengths and talents and values and the things that we love to do, right? That get us excited. And as Kathy said earlier, if our restraining forces and our driving forces are equal, we go nowhere. So we have to find out that combination of reducing restraining forces and increasing driving forces. And it could be maybe increasing all the driving forces, could be maybe decreasing all the restraining forces. It could be an and or, a balance between the two. But we must have to create forward momentum, which is going to move us down that proven path. Our driving forces must outweigh our restraining forces. At the end of the day, that's what must happen. So, all right, so let's go into driving. And I love the driving forces. Okay, so let's talk through a few of these. All right, what about focused? All right, so when we are really good at something, very focused, we can do anything. We can do just about anything we want, right? So now, remember, as Kathy talked about, everybody has different strengths, talents, and values. Your restrainers might be different than your neighbor's restrainers. Mine and Kathy's are probably a little bit different. Mine and Tim's are definitely different, okay? So remember that. There's no one set that fits everyone. There's a lot of different of these forces out there. So another driving force is strategic, okay? Great. That's a really, really good one. And if you're not strategic, you're not focused, how can you strengthen those? And of course, we do that through knowledge. We do that for being mentored, right? And getting help. Thorough. This is a really good one, right? We do things very thoroughly and completely, right? And that we're very genuine could be another driving force. Another one, trustworthy. And what another one also, guys, is timely, right? That's a really good driving force. Some people don't like it if you don't show up on time. You know, it's just a fact, right? Risk taker. Now, some people are very conservative, and that seems like, oh my gosh, that's a restraining force. But to some of us, risk taking is a driving force. To me, it is. You know, I'm a person who's probably going to take a little more risk, but as the way I see it, as a driving force, you can get a bigger bang for your buck if you take a little more risk. It's just like in stock market, right? Same thing. And there's many, many, many more. There's so many, many more, you guys. So this is going to be another great exercise. We're going to give you guys some time. What I do want to do before I put this exercise in the chat, does anybody have any feedback from their restrainers they want to share? Any quick feedback? Or should we wait to the end, Kathy, and do both?
Either way, either way.
All right. Okay. Anybody has any, they can raise their hand. If not, we'll go ahead and get going on our driving forces. I'm going to put the exercise in the chat. And again, you guys are going to grab that and you're going to start to work through.
I was going to say, sometimes it's easier to share your driving forces than your
Yes.
restraining
I was
forces.
going to, and that's why I thought, okay, well, maybe we'll just wait till the end because the restraining forces are the difficult part. That's what really holds us back. So the driving forces I see as fun. And remember, these are your superheroes. So I love, and I don't know, we'll share the story of where we got the villains and the superheroes. Is we were teaching our first teen pilot, The Great Discovery, some years back. And the kids came up with their driving forces were their superheroes and the villains were their restrainers. And it was such a great concept that Kathy and I said, you know what, we're going to use that. We're absolutely going to use that. In fact, for our program, so I told you we have the 5-year-old to 8-year-olds and the 12-year-olds all the way up to 100 plus. So that, or the 13-year-old up. So the 9 to 12-year-olds, Kathy and I are still working on a concept for that. And we think we want to do a comic book. Wouldn't it be great to have a comic book for that age, and we can have our superheroes and villains? It'd be great. So,
and you know, the other thing, just along those lines, is 2 years ago that when we taught this live in Orlando, Sandra and Tim and I all came up with our own superheroes. Right? We all have our own little superheroes that we and it's really important because it helps you kind of identify, like when you understand what your strengths are. You can, and you realize what you can do, it really helps you just, you know, when you're having that moment where you're just stuck or you're just frustrated or you're just, you know, it's like maybe even in despair about it, that superhero inner force can really help you find that strength and that ability to move forward. So it's a very powerful thing. So, and as a rule, I think humans, you know, for years as I was a manager and when I would do performance reviews, if I asked a person that was sitting there, you know, what did they think they could improve on? They could have no trouble telling me, well, I don't do this well, I don't do this, and you know, I could improve here and here. Then I would say, what are your strengths? And often I would just get silence. It's like people struggle with verbalizing their strengths. So you need to own your strengths. You need to, you know, take credit for what you're good at, and then you need to put it to work for you.
Absolutely, Kathy. That is so true. So we are going to spend about the next 8 minutes working on this exercise, guys. We're going to give you some time, and we're not going to talk the whole entire time. We're going to give you a little quiet, okay? Because I know you need to think through this. These are, like Kathy said, these exercises are the harder ones. And we're going to give you a little bit of time to work through these, and then we'll spend a little bit of time after that with having some people share about their experience and how they're doing on their forces, okay? And Andrew put a great comment in the chat. Andrew, I think that's awesome. He said a comic book would be fantastic, and the TGD team are all the superheroes. Aww. That's amazing. That's a great idea. Thank you, Andrew. That's wonderful.
Sandra, a couple of people have just come back in, so you might want to post these two exercises just one more time because they won't see them in the chat.
Yep, I absolutely will. If you just came back in, guys, I'm going to repost these exercises, exercise 5A and 5B. That's what we're working on right now is our forces. So we've got our villains, which is exercise 5, oops, sorry.
5A and
5A
5B is
is
our
our
strengths,
villain.
which is where we're at right now in the program. So, but feel free to take both.
Okay.
Like,
Hold on one sec. There we go. There's 5A there that I just reposted. If anybody's new, just coming in. And we'll post these all at the end, you guys. I will make sure I get them all put in the chat again at the end, in case somebody misses anything. And here is our strengths inventory. Coming up right now. There we go. Okay, 5 more minutes, guys. And we'll start to do some review. All right, it's 4:20, and I think it's time for us to come back together. So how did everyone do on the exercises? Does anybody want to share about their thoughts? Did they discover anything?
Tell us your strengths. Brag
Yeah.
about yourself a little bit. You know, we got some great people here.
You can put them in chat. You can raise your hand.
I was gonna say, I know some people are probably typing. I'm gonna just say one thing about these forces, both driving and restraining. Well, a couple things I want to say. A couple things. First off, again, a key takeaway from Six Sigma is that you can list a lot of restraining forces. You can list a lot of driving forces. So maybe when you went through the strengths, you found out, hey, there's a lot of strengths you have, and maybe you checked off quite a few things on the restraining side as well. Here's the thing: not all of them are created equal. So some of them are going to be stronger than others. And that's part of the follow-up process. So a little something to do later is to really understand which are the ones that are the most influential on you, both restraining or driving. Because if you can then take action on those are the ones that are going to have the most impact on how things go for you. So if you take a really strong restraining force and reduce its effect, then you are making much more impact than trying to work on 10 of them that have a little effect, whether it's driving or restraining. So kind of think about which ones are the big ones, and you probably will know what they are. And really focus on increasing the driving forces that are strong for you, and the strongest and the most influential, and decreasing the restraining forces that are the strongest, because that's going to be your greatest forward momentum.
Okay. We have
Andrew.
got
Yeah.
Andrew.
Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, yes, I was. So, yeah, especially after hearing all that from Dr. Mort, I feel like I'm more open to sharing. So I'll start on the I don't know if you call it positive, but more what was the more positive side?
The driving forces.
Driving forces. So I'd say authentic communicator, but I love the fact that you had the word learner, because I believe that that's really curiosity and learning is what helps me so much to be able to move forward and to help others, because I'm always willing to learn, and I'm always willing, let's say from my students, for example, or if I write something and someone comes back with a comment that's helpful, I really try to be as open as possible, and then problem solver kind of goes along with that. So I'll start there.
That's great. I will say I love that, Andrew, because that to me is a super strength, because so many people get to a point where they feel like they can't admit that there's anything else for them to learn, and they won't take that feedback. But when you can be in that spot, be curious, be open, be vulnerable, oh my gosh, you can accomplish so much. So I love that you nabbed that one on yours. You put that one on yours. That's great.
Yes, now we can go to the other side. So I think perfectionist procrastinator, I'm an expert if I allow myself to be. And I learned this concept of who, not how, and it helped me. It said something about perfectionism is sometimes just a signal that you can use some help. Like, for example, you probably saw so many people not putting their courses up, so you have people there for them to basically walk them through it. Would that be an example?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned, get some help instead of just trying to be a procrastinator, and it's helping a lot already. So that is something that I noticed in myself, that I've gone so much further ahead because I'm willing to get help. And it's so easy today, like what you're doing for course creators. If you just ask some questions, if you have a good network, you can find someone to help you with almost anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then the other one is, it said wounding. So I believe that like making offers sometimes in the past, and if someone can't afford something, I feel so much empathy, and so that's something that I just need to understand, that not everyone can afford every offer. Like, I've been offered offers in the tens of thousands of dollars, and it's not for me, but I have also invested in myself at other amounts. So I put myself in people's shoes, but I realize that I can't let it really get to me, and realize that everyone accepts what they can accept and is ready for a program when they're ready for it. And if you have more to say about that, that would be great.
And Andrew, I'll make a comment on that. I believe things happen when they're supposed to happen, right? Sometimes in the past, I was known for pushing on things and trying to make things happen. And sometimes you just have to take a step back. Yes, I still need to understand my driving forces, my restraining force, and I need to work to that. But sometimes you just need to let things happen, and the right things will come into your path. So there's that too. But I have to agree. But I think that it's important that we continue to work on the driving forces and the restraining forces. And sometimes when we're working on those is when we have those breakthroughs. Those things will just happen for us. And so that's the key, is that you're actually taking action. It's when we sit back and don't take any action is when nothing is going to happen, right? That and we sit there and we think, oh, everybody's just going to do it for us, right? Or they're not. Okay, we have to take that action. Sometimes it's not in the time that we want it to be, but if we continue taking action, then we will get there. So I hope that helps.
Yes, absolutely.
Renee has a lovely comment in the chat about when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That's exactly what you guys are talking about. And when the teacher is ready, the students will appear. I love it. It's true both ways.
Absolutely.
And then she put as empaths, we feel deeply. However, it doesn't mean we need to take it personally. Oh, that's great, Renee. No action is also an action.
Yeah, choosing to do nothing is also an action. Not making a decision is also an action. So I'm glad you pointed that out. That's really so true.
True.
Thank you, Renee.
Yeah, that could be an actual driving force or a restraining force, not taking action, right? See, for me, that would be a restraining force because it would drive me crazy not to take action, because I'm a person who loves to take action. So that would go opposite for me. With other people, it would be, oh, great, that's a driving force. I don't have to do it. I don't have to take action right now. So interesting how my driving forces can be someone's restraining forces, right? And again, goes back to that dream team. We can all help each other. Right? We can all help each other. And just like you said, Andrew, reaching out into this network, somebody's going to be able to help. And everyone I know in our network is willing to help. That's what's so great.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else want to share a little bit?
Yeah, procrastination due to fear. You're so right, Renee.
Yeah. Miss Renee.
Procrastination, waiting, so again, it's a time thing and it could be a fear thing, right? I'll just put that off for another day. And so
yeah, exactly.
Important again to understand what is our motivation behind it. We got to understand the cause so that we can really break through it.
And Joyce says, playing small and safe. Because I'm older now, I feel I won't have the impact that I did when I was younger. Now I see possibilities in being a listener, empathetic, recontextualizing, and being guided from within, more following the force now. I don't need to be the Jedi Knight. I can be Yoda.
Oh, I love
that. Joyce, that's beautifully put, Joyce. Wow.
And yes, Stephen does have a course about procrastination too. So that's another.
He does. And again, procrastination is not one I've ever had to deal with. I know people who do procrastinate, but I am not a procrastinator. Thank goodness I was not born with that. So I feel very blessed. So very blessed.
So I know Christine has her hand up, but we are close to time. So go ahead, Christine.
I just wanted to say, I found it a bit easier, I don't know if anybody else did, to do the restraining forces than the driving forces, because the driving forces almost feels conceited, and it was harder for me.
I'm so glad you said that, Christine, because that's what I observe all the time too. It's harder to acknowledge our strengths easier to focus on what we think we don't do well or what's not. So beautiful. And so beautiful because this does take us into our next session, which is coaching,
I know. Coaching. All right, are we ready?
I
We
think we're
are
ready.
now.
Here, let me
We're ready.
hang on. Let's make sure. So again, to be done at a later time, there's two pieces to this. On your restraining forces, just play with those villains, give them a name, because sometimes that makes them easier to conquer and define how they keep you from moving forward. And pick the biggest ones. Always go with the biggest ones, because those are the ones you want to defeat, because that'll give you the most progress. And then on driving forces, so you just got a strengths inventory, but also add your talents, because again, what are you good at? You were given the strengths and the talents that you have for a reason. And that coupled with your core values is that superpower we're talking about. Those things together can set you apart and allow you to move forward. You just got to figure out how to align them. So it's really important work. But now we're going to move into coaching. So yay. So here's where you get to talk to coaches, our wonderful Great Discovery coaches, Christine, Ross, and Mark. And so now you can ask some questions if you want about your catalyst. Remember, we did that a couple hours ago. Is that still fair based on everything that you've learned and heard about? Is it still right? Your milestones, you kind of have to work on those a little bit. And now you're driving and restraining forces. All of this is good stuff to have a good coaching discussion around. So Sandra, do you want to add anything, or what? Do you want to help everybody get into their rooms?
Yes. So these rooms are all just going to be assigned. We just did the open assignment, but Christine will be in 1, Ross will be in 2, and Mark will be in 3. And so you're just going to be assigned to a room. So go have some great conversation, ask some questions. These are 3 of our absolutely great coaches. Love Ross and Christine and Mark. They've been with us since the beginning, and they are amazing. So have some great conversation and have some fun in there, okay? I'm going to send you guys to the rooms. Here we go. We got about 30 minutes, and I'll give you a broadcast when we're about ready to take you back. So it'll be at top of the hour is when we'll be coming.
Hang on a second, Sandra. Do you have Christine, Ross, and Mark all in a separate room? Because I know you're going to... Yeah.
Yep, they're all good. I got them. We're good.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. See you in a bit.
See ya.
That's just so cool how it does that.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the live stream.